Next, my dear students, what is a shear force? What is a bending moment? So first of all, we will discuss about the shear force. Shear force. Suppose if it is a beam, my dear students. So when force is acting, so in general, already studied in engineering mechanics, my dear students. See, if it is a shaft, when force is acting, it is a cross section. When force is acting, parallel to this cross section. Parallel to this cross section. This type of force is called as shear force. Shear force. Okay. Now, in this case also, now it is a beam, my dear students. It is a beam. It is a beam. All of you see, my dear students. It is a beam. Now, load is acting like this. The load is acting like this. Now, it is a cross section. It is a cross section. Now, this load is acting parallel to this cross section. So, this force is called as shear force. Okay, when force is acting parallel to this cross section, such a type of force is called as a shear force. That is represented with shear force. Okay, now coming to bending moment. What is a bending moment? It is a shear force, Now bending moment is represented by here. Now coming to here, suppose here is a beam, my dear students. It is a beam. It is a cantilever beam. So when force is acting here, see here, because of this force, the beam try to rotate like this. Okay, so with a magnitude, that is force is this one, perpendicular distance is this one, force into perpendicular distance, that is equals to moment. So due to this load, the beam may be bent like this, So the magnitude with which the beam bend, that magnitude is called as bending moment. Okay, so what magnitude with which the beam bend like this, so that magnitude is called as bending moment. Bending moment is equals to F into M. That is force into perpendicular distance, my dear students. Are you clear? Yes. Now coming to what is a shear force diagram. What is a shear force diagram? What is a bending moment diagram? What is a shear force diagram, my dear students? What is a bending moment diagram? So, shear force diagram. That is SFD. Shear force diagram, my dear students. Suppose if it is a beam, my dear students, all of you see, this line represents a beam. So, here is, I am drawing a shear force diagram here. So, on this axis, length of the beam, on this axis, force. So, the graphical representation of, variation of shear force along the length of the beam. The graphical representation, how the force is varies along the length of the beam, that diagram is called as shear force diagram. Along the length, how shear force is varying. The variation of shear force along the length of the beam, that is called as a shear force diagram. Next, coming to bending moment diagram. So, this is a bending moment diagram. On this axis, length of the beam. On this axis, bending moment M or Bm. So, along the length of the beam, how bending moment is varying. The graphical representation. This bending moment variation can be represented in a graphical form along the length of the beam. That is called as a bending moment diagram. So this is bending moment diagram. Sorry, this is shear force diagram, my dear students. This is shear force diagram. This is bending moment diagram, my dear students. The graphical representation of variation of shear force along the length of the beam, that is called as a shear force diagram. The graphical representation of variation of bending moment along the length of the beam, that is called as a bending moment diagram, my dear students.